As long as you didn't touch the American way of thinking, our technology, and our resources, we would not be impoverished at all. America's wealth is not its gold, is not its banking institutions. These are false institutions, that the entire money-structured and materialistic-oriented society is a false society. 10 or 15 years from now, our society will go down in history as the lowest development in man. We have the brains, the know-how. Individuals will live in homes of a different design. There will be a wide range of what you call individuality. The city is built to bring out what you call individuality, creativity, thinking, development, to question all things and challenge all ideas. The city is not utopian. It is an open city to develop all ideas, to change our concepts when they need to be changed.
And we have a three-phase picture.
Architecture will run the gamut, that all the buildings will be earthquake-proof, fire-proof, termite-proof, and shock-resistant, in that they will rest on a particularly designed sand bay so that no direct shock can be transferred to the architecture. There are no fire departments because nothing in the architecture can burn. There are no television sets, radios, tape recorders, or record players. All of that is done by the central computer system, in which all of the world's music is housed in a central computer. You don't want records, tape recorders, all this junk that requires continuous maintenance. All you want is the music you like. You dial it and you get the music. You don't need to pick up records or store them. You live in an insane culture where we duplicate things. It's like having a television station in every home or every apartment building. All you want is the music or the program. You dial that. There's where the computers come in. They don't control you. They provide you with the music.
But you wouldn't need a set
program
in the house to get the program.
No. All you need is an image screen.
An image screen?
An image screen, a flat screen built in on the wall. You don't have a set sticking out. You don't have tape recorders. All you have is the music you like.
Did you read Ira Levin's This Perfect Day?
No, I did not.
Well, he had a society like this in which the computers also control the human beings.
Well, this I'm against.
And he made it so that you felt a little ill, you pressed the button, and
I
you got
don't like that. That's too much like 1984.
All of yours is
and Brave New World. This is humanistic. All our cities will be separated by a half-mile of landscape areas and return to the natural ecological balance. The lakes, the hills, the valleys, the animal life between cities will go back to nature.
How will we travel?
Cities are connected from core to core by either cyclic elevators or linear transportation systems. There are no freeways and no automobiles, therefore no automobile accidents. No automobile accidents because they don't exist. We have continuous transportation. You don't need to wait for a bus. We have continuous moving conveyors.
Now, when I get back to money, and you said it is unimportant, to start this, who will build it? Who's going to build the first?
It's a membership organization, and the membership organization is like the members pay about $10 a year, and they get the booklet and the information. They go to meetings, but the funds actually come from donations from organizations and various agencies of the federal government and private foundations to build the first city, to solve the transportation systems, to work out a totally different environment. And after the first city is built, we expect a rapid growth in the membership. It is difficult for people to immediately understand socio-cyberneering because it is not like anything else that you're familiar with.
Obviously, it requires a change of thinking. But you're not dull, Jacque. Okay.
For example, agriculture. You read of pests, you read of insecticides, you read of DDT, you read of constant spraying contaminating the earth. People get angry. They join environmentalist groups. They try to save our environment, but they come up with no specific ideas. Socio-cyberneering has a blueprint for all of the identified problems. For example, all our agriculture will be totally enclosed, either in plastic or glass buildings that can transmit ultraviolet light. Therefore, you have no insect invasion of plants. We also have special ultrasonic generators that keep all insects away from plants. If certain insects, particularly selected insects that are detrimental to plants, are hit with ultrasonic, cavitation is produced and their bodies rupture, fall to the soil and enrich the soil, and are not washed into our rivers and do not contaminate. Therefore, an agriculture that's enclosed, you're not subject to frost, you're not subject to freeze or weather. In other words, these nuclear plants out here that dump their hot water into the bay, we use that hot water in the winter to enhance the plant life, to grow bananas in Georgia, in North Carolina, by using the hot water from nuclear plants. What do we do with the radioactive waste? We encase it in piping and treat sewage water with the radiation. Not radioactive powder, but the radiation material is sealed. And through a multiplicity of shields, we only use the radiation to clean the waters emitted by hospitals and all other sources of contamination.
You keep showing this figure, this thing flying around in the sky, so you better tell me what that is.
Oh, this is one of the methods of conserving our land area. You read of erosion. Our beaches are being eroded. Land is being eroded. By designing and building underwater dams, which is entirely feasible within our time, we can modify the ocean current. We can modify the Japanese stream. We can build dams under the ocean and utilize the Japanese current, oxygenate the water, and do away with the red tide. The red tide, by the way, can be dealt with by oxygenation, by recirculating the water, by building dams under the water in the Gulf Stream to set up greater turbulence in the water, and this is feasible. If we don't do it, we will cease to be as a nation. We have the energy, the know-how, the raw materials. Socio-Cyberneering is an organization that is probably the boldest organization ever conceived of.
What?
And we're undertaking the most ambitious project in the history of mankind.
What's this?
This represents a surveillance equipment aircraft to survey the areas and movement of the currents and to monitor Earth systems.
All right, Jacque.
This represents a variation of the circular scheme. Most of the cities are based on natural configurations, the atomic structure, basic designs in nature. The center of the city might be related to studies of the human organism. This center here may be studies of diseases of the eye. Other systems, diseases of the nervous system. An all-out research project on enhancing the lives of men. There are no military programs or projects in socio-cyberneering.
There's no need for an army?
No need for an army.
Now, what if one people decides to attack another people?
We then invite, after the first city is built, we tend to go Socio-Cyberneering International, to invite the participation of all nations of the world into a system of monitoring the Earth and using the Earth to enhance the lives of men.
What about what if one group of people get together and attack another group of people?
We believe that is done due to scarcity, or that a society suffers from economic deprivation, lack of arable land area, or overpopulation.
No, you believe it would not occur?
It would not occur.
What is this wild-looking thing?
This is clean sources of power. By utilizing the natural heat of the Earth, that is volcanic energy, or the magma, or the molten lava under the Earth, of which there are approximately 500 potentials. If we tap a mountain in Hawaii called Mount Aloha, we can get enough power to electrify the world. We can get enough power from that volcano alone. We have 500 potential volcanoes we can harness. We can use that natural heat from the volcano. No smog, no smoke, no dirt, no gases, no fuels, no oil spills, and no more burning of fuels in any city to generate power. If Japan used Fujiyama, they don't need to burn oil. They don't need oil. All of that heat is sitting there. 20 million years of power right under the Earth's surface. In fact, you don't even need to use fusion power or nuclear power. And it's easy to tap, and it's clean and available. As soon as we make up our minds to put scientists, rather than on weapons, nerve gas, on harnessing the Earth power that is already here.
Well, how are you going to get the president of Florida Power and Light or Shell Oil to give up that?
Socio-cyberneering does not appeal to governments, to private enterprise. We're going to do this thing just as the automobile phased out the stagecoach, just as television stepped in and phased out the old vaudeville and the old motion pictures, that history and technology is respecters of no society, no individual opinions, but it moves on, and we've got to be prepared to face the future. Socio-cyberneering will tackle some of the most ambitious projects in the history of man. This represents the building of underwater dams within the Gulf Stream. This dam will collect, direct, and route the waters of the sea into a spillway that is centrifugally shaped so that fish and marine life are separated from the turbine blades. The Gulf Stream will generate power to oxygenate the waters, to eliminate the red tide, to pick up the amount of fish in the ocean, to monitor marine life, and build an ecological relationship between the total oceanographic world and the continents. Areas where we've gone in for strip mining and loused up the land by digging out the areas, shamefully pitting the surface of the United States, we feel we can build underground art cities, music centers, landscaped areas with gardens and lakes, and reclaim those areas.
Now this looks like a train station.
After the automobile is phased out, which we hope to do very rapidly, we hope to build a new transportation system and also phase out all forms of aircraft except surveillance. Aircraft, helicopters. We think aircraft are no longer necessary. In fact, the skies are so jammed and landing is so difficult, and the speeds and the shock wave are no longer worth working on. I know that people in the aircraft business do not understand this, nor do they feel this, because they feel that all institutions tend to perpetuate themselves. We hope to phase out the airplane by designing transportation units that can move up to 2,000 miles an hour, floating on a magnetic repulsive field or an air cushion. And in those huge trains of tomorrow, there'll be television, radio, amusement, art centers, classrooms, not a group of seats lined up as your trains are today, highly regimented society, whether you know it or not. This society will be different in its transportation means. If 40 or 50 people have to leave the train, we slow up to 100 miles an hour, lift off the passenger section, or slide it off and slide on a section with the passengers getting on. You don't have to stop the whole plane or the train. Today, when 3 people are getting off, you land the airplane and 3 or 4 people get off. In the future, we will just shove off those passengers getting off and that freight leaving.
How will this go from, say, Miami to London?
We then have an underwater project in which tunnels are suspended 125 feet beneath the surface of the sea. Therefore, you eliminate most of the ocean-going transportation system. You're not subject to the weather or anything else.